All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. What's going on, Ryan? How you been?
Surviving a cold, man. Probably the same with you. It's been like negative degree temps, pipes freezing all over the place, and just trying to get to summertime, man. I'm about tired of this weather already.
We can't rush it because we can't rush life. We'll be rushing life forever. We'll be like, oh, it's too
We can
hot.
rush
I
through
can't
winter
wait for this.
time. We can we can rush through non-peak, get right to peak season. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and that's how many years. That's how fast the years be flying when we keep rushing to get to peak season because that's all we have to look forward to.
I'm still blown away. It's 2025. Like January is almost over already. I feel like 2024 just started. Like I have no idea where the time went.
Yeah, time is going beyond as fast, moving faster than we could think and hope. Like we're like, you know what? I don't want the busy season to come. I just got out of the busy season. And yeah. But that's not everybody. Everybody's probably like, what is he talking about? I want that.
What's new in your world, man? What's going on with you?
Not too much. I think I just been kind of falling back the last week, trying to take in some stuff, but I haven't really like keeping my ear to the ground. Haven't really heard anything that stood out, besides the typical it's January, you know.
Yep.
Um, so I hope everybody's, doing their thing. I haven't heard anybody crying, saying, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's actually pretty good. So I know you made that post about the movie company thing the other day, and I was like, let me find out Ryan out here, getting his thing going. But I know sometimes you got to do stuff like that to get engagement because some people do not engage.
Yeah, no, we engage pretty well, but you got to be pretty careful what you do and when you say things, right? And
Hmm.
I correspond this to like, and I always hate bringing it back to the sub shop, but as we have in the Facebook world, there's many, many pages, and it always pops up. Hey, who's got the best subs in the area, right? And you want to, as a business owner, at least me, I want to go in there and be like, oh, tag us, do this, do that, what have you. But I learned really quickly once you kind of dive in there and start saying some things you get a bunch of, I don't want to say trolls, but people that just want to go against the grain that don't even know about you, the product, or anything. So I learned rather quickly, hey, just let these things roll out, and our customers, our people, what have you, will step in and fight the good fight for us. And it's been really really cool to watch. We just had one the other day. Somebody said they were looking for a cheap sub, cheaper than Subway. Where do we go? And I'm like, oh, it's gonna get good. Then a couple people listed the sub shop, and then people listed, well, these guys are the opposite end of cheap. They're probably the most expensive game in town. However, the quality, the amount of meat, like, and they just basically hit all of our notes that we strive to hit every single day. So it's just really cool to kind of sit back and watch that. But yeah, I agree with you on the engagement side there. Sometimes I'm looking for some answers, and the easiest way to get those answers is just kind of ask a question in some of these Facebook groups.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwight Mack with Max Moving Training. So we're gonna be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. The customer, they're uplifting their life from one location to another. They're having to call all these vendors and get all these suppliers in place so that basically they can make that transition. So their stress level is at the highest right now. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stress during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it.
Groups. Um,
Yeah,
very
that's
tremendous
gonna
value.
be that's gonna be the case, with getting surveys and just putting your name out there. Definitely monitoring your paid marketing for sure. Word of mouth is gonna definitely be the case. Good thing you got a Facebook page that I never been invited to.
Which one? Are you talking about a sub shop?
Yeah.
Shoot, find you real quick. I don't even know how to do all that. I'll get you. I'm disappointed you didn't even try to look for it.
I don't even know the name of it. That's the crazy part.
It's the sub shop.
That is it really?
Dead serious.
That is awesome. That is actually really good SEO in a sense. Very weird,
It's
but very good.
we initially had. I think everybody kind of take a page from the book, right? So we had a whole bunch of different really cool names. I'm like, oh, this would be great. This would be awesome. But it was like almost it'd be great names if you were like a big franchise. I feel like it would catch on, but initially I'm like, man, these are great names, but like, who's going to search for that? How is that going to like people aren't going to get the little the little joke behind the particular name or what it means to us or what have you. So, I was chatting with a buddy who's pretty decent at this stuff, and I'm like, dude, what would you call it? And he's like, the sub shop. I'm like, understood. I'm like, what would you call it? And he's like, the sub shop. And he's like, and here's why. And he rattled down this list, and I'm like, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, hence the name, the sub shop, and then it's less signage that we had to buy, less massive letters that we had to buy, so it ended up being a little bit cheaper for us, and it's stuck. So
Yeah.
it's pretty. You drive by, you want to know what we do. There it is. We are a sub shop. I feel like I drive by so many local businesses here that have really good food or really good product, but you just drive by and you don't know by reading their logo. You're like, who's that? What do they do? My thing is, if you
Mhm.
drive by a place and you don't know what they are or who they do based on what their name is, I feel like that's a little bit of a problem. But
Good. Now, how would you like? I know you're old school like me. So how would you like to? How do you compare yourself to the ultimate franchise, Blimpies? Because I felt like they were amazing before Subways.
so Blimpie, I don't have much experience with Blimpie. We had one in our town probably 10 years ago. And it was around for like 5 or 6 months and then it was gone. It was hot for the first 2, 3 months, along with Jimmy John's and a couple of these other ones. And I guess how does it compare? Like one, we're super fresh. Everything is cut fresh every single day. Our bread is rolled out of the truck fresh every day. Now I know they make their own bread and things like that, but I think the biggest difference is going to be the how much meat and toppings that you get. So even if you go to a Blimpies and ask for the extra meat and you pay the $4 and change, you're still getting less meat than what comes on our regular sub. So
Okay.
instead of, for example, like a half a sub at Blimpies is what, 6 inches? Ours is 8. So in a Blimpie 6 inch sub, and I probably shouldn't even say the name there, but they'll put they'll take one piece of cheese and they cut it in half and they put that on top, right? Well, we're using two full pieces of cheese. So you just get way more value than a lot of these guys. Again, I eat at not Blimpies because it's not here, but when I travel, I eat Subways. I love Jersey Mike's. Like
Okay.
I like them all. I get a little inspiration from some of these guys. And honestly, when we did the setup, I don't know how this has turned into a sub shop show here, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But when we did the initial setup, like I went to the Subways. I saw how they had things set up. I saw where their chips were. Same thing, where their drink machine, how they're operating and what have you. Because let's face it, those guys they're the biggest, they're the baddest, they're the best. So they've got their systems in place. So I'm not saying I copied what they did, but I definitely took a few pages out of their book. And hey, when you walk in, the customer experience is going to go here, and we're going to go here. And when they're done here, we're going to go here, rather than just kind of say, have a free for all. So I definitely took quite a few pages out of Jersey Mike's, Subway, unfortunately not Blimpie because there's not around anymore. And then on some of the other local sub shops in the area as well. Stop in and eat and see what they do really well, see what they don't do really well. And the things that all these guys didn't do well was kind of a lot of the same common pieces. So I knew if I could check the box on what the organizations, my competition sort of say in the area is doing, I'd be just fine.
Number 3, make sure your team is in uniform, they're groomed, their hygiene is checked, because that's the worst thing you could do, especially going in a house. Customer could smell your guy from a mile away, and now, again, their mood is just thrown off. So make sure that you guys are in uniform, you're tight, you have uniform shirts, it doesn't look like, you have a laborer that's, hired from off the street. Presentation is everything that goes towards your first impression. Number 4, introduce both you and your partner when greeting a customer. Don't just go to the door by yourself, while your driver is unloading the truck and introduce yourself. Actually have both of you there. Introduce yourself first, then introduce your partner second, and then, allow them to welcome you into their home.
I think the other thing too is not looking at Subway and Blimpie as competition because they're at a whole nother level than what we are.
Hmm.
Like I can't compete with someone that's got pockets that deep, right? I can't do the $6 meal deal specials. I'd be bankrupt in 2 weeks if I did that. So to me, it was competing with my costs. That's my competitor.
Yeah, I don't, and again, I gotta come down, definitely come down there and visit.
Get a
But
free sub, man. You make the drive. It's free.
you know what? I ain't got nothing to do today. I'll be
You
there.
got to pay for your drink though. No, just kidding.
But no, so I was thinking, with that, like I always think big. I think how like McDonald's had the playpen and all this other stuff, and what's the
No, don't
endless?
even say it.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna
We
say
ain't gonna
it.
have no baby section, no playground up in the sub shop. Is that what you're looking for? You trying to
No,
bring your kid,
no,
trying to bring your child.
but no, I was just thinking. I was like, trying to think outside the box, where it's like how could you make it a family friendly environment where it's just not necessarily geared it is geared towards the food, but it's like what keeps them geared in, what keeps them entertained. You think about friendlies, you think about how they have the coloring sheets, they have the ice cream theme, they have but technically it's really about their food, but the ice cream is like a big part of it.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, what could you do if you wanted to expand to?
Yeah, we want to get you in, get you out. We have limited seating on the inside, so it seats two, four, six, eight, seats 10. Right. That
Okay.
only fills up a couple times here and there. There's always somebody sitting down and eating, but we're more of a get your shit and get out. We turn and burn, baby. Yeah, no, it's come and grab and go. We do have a lot of people that sit inside and summertime outside, but no, it's a pick it up and go. I can't say freaky fast because that's the other sub place, but we're super fast. Not freaky fast, we're super fast.
All right. So, all right. So, yeah, everybody, I know we got to get to talking about moving. You guys like, what is this conversation about? But, it's about business. It all circles back around.
Yeah, a business is a business is a business, right? Like whether it's a sub shop, a moving company, I mean, there's things that have to be done, boxes that need to be checked, and that's how from knowing and learning the moving industry, as long as I have, it helped me basically build and grow the sub shop. Starting with culture, starting with process, starting with labeling, having everything clean, neat, and straight, just like a warehouse would be, right? So I took a lot of pages on the moving book and inserted it right in here.
Hmm.
So,
So I would say for y'all guys still planning your year out, obviously it's the 23rd. So if you're this far behind, you're not too behind the curveball, but you're behind the curveball. You need to finish up before the end of this month. Because basically right now you kind of like, if you're still planning, that means you definitely don't have a vision for what your year is planning on looking like. This is the perfect time to be utilizing your winner rates, understanding your profit margins, because the profit margins are always changing in the industry, especially as the years go on. So I used to believe that it was between 25 and 35% profit margin. Now, who knows? It could be probably between 30 and 40, but it just comes down to who's your customer base? Because ultimately, if you don't know your customer base and you target everybody, you're not gonna get everybody. You might not get the right person at all. You might get the wrong person. So, understanding what you can charge and not, I actually had a moving company owner come into my store the other day, and he was like, he said, he said, oh, sometimes he'd be dealing with customers, and the customers might say, oh, 160 is too high. And he's like, well, I could probably do it for this price. And already it was a red flag because he's a New York moving company. But you know
man.
so, so it was already a red flag. And I was just like, dude, you can't do that. You gotta know, you gotta get the customer at your level where you're at. And the fact that he already told me that, obviously I'm not going to talk too much about price because, that price thing. But already the fact that he was saying that he was charging under $200 for a three-man service likely with a truck, you're just like, dude, I know you can't be making that much money with that.
No.
And you're probably going to have a lot of business. You're probably going to have a lot of work because your rates are so low. And when it comes to commercial work, when it comes to whatever, if you got cheap rates, some people might shy away because some people are skeptical, like, oh, well, geez, if I pay $20 more, I might get a premium service when you probably offer a premium service, but for dirt cheap. But it's scary that you offer that cheap that premium service for dirt cheap because people are like, well, I'd rather pay for the elite service. And it's weird because it's like as you raise your prices, you get more resistance. But as you lower your prices too low, you get resistance. So it's all about trying to find that sweet spot to get that right customer. And it was fascinating when I found out that truth.
Yeah, I mean, so 160 for three guys in a truck, huh?
Well, it wasn't 160 for three guys, but it was definitely it was like probably 180, 190-ish.
All
And
right.
I just thought
I
that was
mean, that's
super
where
low.
that was like our median rate, our yellow rate, sort of say. We were like, yeah, it was like 195 for three guys or three people in a truck, I should say now. You can't say three guys in a truck, apparently. So three people in a truck, we were about like 195, but that was 2022.
Hmm. See, this world's getting a little sensitive, man. You can't say three men.
I've been called out for it a couple times. So no, you can't say master bedroom anymore. You better say primary. I got called
Oh,
out on that. It was
gee.
one of my last in-home surveys in a market that it all makes sense of why that was said that way. But I'm like, oh, master bedroom, this is beautiful. And she looked at me and she's like, excuse me? You cannot say that. This is the primary. You're talking about. I'm like, I'm not talking about slavery. I'm like, this is master bedroom. Like, that's just what it is, right?
Mhm.
So I got an education lesson for about 10 minutes. So at that point, I just walk in, and the funny thing is, I'm like, oh, primary bedroom. And you get other people look at me and be like, no, it's the master. And I'm like, I don't know what to say here.
Well, I'm gonna say it because we in the free world, and this is a podcast. So I'm gonna say it. How are we gonna handle this non-binary thing when we send these people on the job?
I
Yeah,
guess ask me that question a different way.
how are we gonna reference they and their when we're on a job to a customer?
Hey, hello, how are you? Thank you.
Well,
Appreciate
no,
the
what if
business.
what if they're part of our crew? And you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna send you a three-man crew. You can't say that no more. So you're gonna say, I'm gonna send you a three-person crew.
I just said three person. I've been saying three people in a truck, two people in a truck. You know, I, I'm very obviously very sensitive and not sensitive. It's very cautious of how I speak in today's world. Honestly, like I feel like, especially wearing this on my chest, right? Like you just you never know, man. And it's one of the things. I never want to upset anybody or tick anybody off. I don't intentionally ever mean to. I don't ever want to harm anybody by saying anything. But if I don't know, I guess I don't really have I can't wave the magic wand on that one. It just you treat them they just like everybody else. Like why would there
I
be
guess
a
I think it's just the wordplay, like you said. So it's not anything against them specifically. It's describing them to the customer,
well,
and I'm just
I just why I started doing the three people is when I was saying, hey, I got three three guys in a truck, and it was a lady that kind of just called it out, and she's like, "Oh, you only hire men? Women can't do this job?" And I'm like, "No, we actually do have women that do this job. We have two at our organization. One is a really good, high speed, incredible packer, and the other one can basically put a dresser on her back.
mm.
So it was at that point I was just like, all right, we're gonna go with three people.
Yeah,
So
and the crazy part is a lot of people don't even like if you tell them that you're sending them a girl, and from my experience, they're like, oh, you don't have three strong guys that you can send?
I'll tell you what, I know, and you might know her as well. Do you know Felicia Yu? She used to be with Bud Van Lines. Now she's basically business development rep for First Class. But she drove a big old tractor trailer. But she started off as basically a labor. Then she was a driver for Bud Van Lines. She ran her crew. She drove all over the country. I would put her up against anybody. Now she's obviously in her office. She's paved the way and she's done some amazing things. But that's someone right there. If I was going to basically select an A team comprised of movers, you bet your ass she'd be right up there. She'd be on that team. She was incredible, and she did say she'd pull up to people's homes, and they'd be see her because she's only like 5'3", maybe 95 pounds, maybe 100 pounds, soaking wet. Like she'd show up, and people would be like, where's my moving guys? And she's like, no, I got you, and she would. She was just a terror, absolutely incredible. So.
Yeah, I seen a lady on her own, I guess, labor crew the other day or whatever the case is, and she was tearing it up, wrapping things,
I
carrying
think I know who
things.
you're talking about. Yeah, she had like four fives behind her back. She was walking upstairs. I'm like, I don't know how you carry. It looked uncomfortable how she was carrying those boxes. If it's the same one, but I'm like, oh, I would only had two in my hands. She had four.
Yeah, no, I've never been a fan about carrying boxes on my back, and I know that the labor crews, they definitely would make a mockery out of it, but I'm just like, made no sense, carrying boxes on your back.
It just seemed a little. I see people do it when they do. They've got totes. But I'm like, they just look like a giant leaped over truck. And I'm like, how do you set that down? Like, how do
Well,
you?
you're supposed to, there's supposed to be a box, a base box that you're setting it down on in most cases, when you come into the residence or you go into your truck or whatever the case is. But it's just still like, what if I, kind of set it down, I trip backwards and it kind of goes
Yeah,
flying,
I see a lot. I mean, a lot of people do it, hey, but there's a lot of little nicks and tricks that people do in this industry that blows my mind away. I was not a back box carrier myself at all. But
So, so yeah, so I guess, um, what is, I guess, what is some things that I guess Supermove been, I don't know if y'all been releasing any new articles or so like that. I know y'all used to release those things that people could be doing or trends that they should be looking out for. But I guess what have y'all noticed so far in the last couple of months that people are either dropping the ball on or they could be doing better going forward?
I think it's still, I mean, in 2023 or 2024, like kind of the trend of like AI, right? AI and automation. It was what was really being talked about. You heard it everywhere you went. It was ChatGPT, AI, automation, and people were kind of starting to dabble with it a little bit. They felt a little uncomfortable. Um, I think after the report, the market report that we just did, is you're seeing a major adoption with AI and technology moving forward. Like it's no longer a trend; it's a must-have. If you're going to continue to operate and be successful and do whatever you need to do, you're going to need to leverage AI and technology in your business. You're just going to have to for the customer experience, for the employee experience, and let's face it, for that kind of owner experience, so you get some time back and spend more time with his family rather than in the office and on the truck. So I think it's a lot of what once was a trend is now a must-have, and we're also going to be releasing a really cool State of the Nation or State of the Moving Nation report here coming soon. So I don't want to let too much out about that because it's not out yet. But product wise, we're doing some really cool things with AI voice. Which I got to be very careful what I say there because it's not launched yet. But there's some really cool things that minus the basic product improvements and things like that we're always doing. And we had over 200 updates last year in the software, which is pretty
Okay.
crazy. I know we update all the time, but kind of seeing that year in review of updates, I was rather blown away at the amount of work that the team got done in 365 days total, over 200 updates. So
Yeah. So, yeah, no. So I'm definitely been checking out the whole AI thing as well and trying to figure out how do I want to kind of like incorporate that into what what I'm doing, because obviously it's no like Microsoft Edge actually just released, their AI aspect of things. Google Workspace included their AI pilot into things now, so that basically it summarizes your email feeds and kind of it could probably even proofread what you're writing and probably give you some, grammar corrections. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out, how I would apply it to, obviously what I've been working on, as well as the training side of things.
yeah, I'd say the craziest is everything I go to write, whether it's if I go to write a message on Facebook, I go to write an email, or even a damn text now. I feel like between Meta and like everything's like, oh, you want me to write your post for you? Do you want me to write your email? It's like, damn. Like I almost feel like I don't have to think as
Yeah.
much anymore. But I don't leverage the AI to write a lot of things. But in your opinion, man, what is the best? What's the best platform out there right now when it comes to AI? ChatGPT. Like,
Chat
which
GPT
one do you think
is
that's the?
but I also think that who else? Like I said, Microsoft Edge, I think can create images for you now as well. Um, so I think just utilizing all of these things. I know we talked about it kind of last week with the with Chuck, who talked about um there's other platforms that can help you create very good images.
Yeah.
But obviously Canva is one of those things that just stands out. But you even with Canva, you're like, well, hey, I got to find that template to kind of get going, and then I got to find a image maybe on Google somewhere, unless I have an actual legit image to put on that template. So it's kind of like it has to be an easier way. And I guess the world is just going to continue to get more and more lazier, but it's kind of like, hey, like you said, like the world is saying, is like, hey, you got to be able to delegate. You got to be able to get things done sooner than not because your main role isn't marketing unless you're a marketing firm.
Yep.
So you want to kind of try to get a picture out there. You want to kind of try to get a text or what do you call it? Copy out there. But the copy is pretty good because you can get that from ChatGPT in 5 seconds. But that image to go with it, that right image to fit, and you're just like, I could be here all day on Canva trying to figure this out.
Well, the image you got behind you, that's is that AI image?
That was ChatGPT.
I was 100%. Like I just with the prompts, boardroom, add boxes, add a moving team with. Did you have to be really, really descriptive on that?
Um, Not well, not too much. Not with this one. I think like when I came up with other images or so like that, I had to I had to really prompt it to say, hey, come at this angle. We want to see sunlight. We want to see a teacher at the backboard or at the whiteboard teaching the movement team and stuff like that. And even in the image, it's actually been ChatGPT actually spelled stuff pretty good in this one. So I couldn't complain too much.
Interesting. So where do you see AI in the next 3 to 5 years in the moving
Oh,
industry? Like, what
it's
do you
gonna be
think the experience is
phenomenal.
going to be like from both the moving company side as well as the consumer side? Like, what in the ideal world, what do you see? What do you see this looking like?
So AI, the way it's gonna incorporate, well, it's gonna definitely be in most, if not every CRM. Um, it's probably gonna help people pre-write their inventory into the system. So as the customers are kind of like, oh, I have, blah, 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 and they're trying to write, it's going to kind of like pre-write it out or so like that. It may even go to the extent of people might just be able to take photos of what they have in their house. And I know this technology is already out there, but I think it's just going to get more widely used where they're just going to take pictures of their room and automatically it's going to write it out for them, every item. And I know that again, and the one marketing AI group, they talked about it already where you could just put images into Chat GPT and it'll
Yep.
inventory it out for you. So I think that's just going to just be incorporated more widely into the CRMs. And how else could it affect the industry? Moving, I think is going to just be moving until, Elon Musk get those robots together.
Yeah,
It's it's still gonna be the
it's
old school
coming.
movement. It is. And they already got the body skeleton out there. That's why a lot of older guys will probably be able to stick around the industry a lot longer because the body skeletons are gonna allow them to continue to use their flexibility.
I think I need a body skeleton for my job right now. My fingers from typing, man, they hurt.
Yeah. It'll increase your typing speed from 60 words a minute to 120 words per minute.
Yeah, man, you can do 1,000 words a minute. Like,
Got the keyboard smoking and everything. But so yeah, no, I think AI is definitely going to play a big role in the industry. And I know that people are still, my side of the business where people are looking for training and stuff like that. I know that that's going to continue to develop. I know people are still looking for online training courses and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So I was actually pretty excited how many people were still interested in looking up training courses the other day when I seen this post in the group, and a guy referred my company. So I was like very grateful for that aspect of things. Um, so, I know there's still some competition around out there, that I got to worry about, whatever the case is. But I think, like you said, even with your sub shop, it's all about at this point, you kind of got the foundation. It's about keeping your head down, focusing on the game plan ahead, and just going for it, but never become, what do you call it? Complacent
Like,
where you are.
yep.
Always keep growing.
No, no doubt, man. That's always at the forefront. What can we do better? Just try to get a little bit better every single day is all that we look to truly do. Just how do we get a little bit better than we were yesterday? Challenge the
Now,
process every single day. Or each other. Hey, if you find something that's just, if you find yourself asking, why do we do it this way? Or if you think there's a better way, let's create it and let's do it. And that's on everything. Where we place things, the efficiency of where people stand and line up and walk down to where the register is, to where the phone is, to where the DoorDash piece is. Like everything is at this point pretty strategically placed based on efficiency and what makes the most sense. But we didn't start that way. I can tell you right now. I looking back how we started and where we are, and it's like I am blown away how far we were able to get in 2 years with really going in this not knowing a whole ton, right? So yeah, it's proof you put your mind to it, you do the right thing every day. You do right by the customers, you have a bunch of fun, be consistent with whatever product that you have, whether it's moving, subs, pool cleaning services, doesn't matter. And that machine will grow.
yeah, we got moving letters AI in the building, checking us out today.
Who is it, Zach or Matt?
I don't know. He just came in as moving letters AI, so I ain't want to just be calling him the wrong name.
Oh, well, if it's Zach or Matty Mallers, what's up, guys? Would love to take a question from you, especially Matty Mallers. He's a good dude. He was on your show, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Um, so
He's
yeah,
fun as hell,
no.
man. I wish I had half his energy. And I think I got a lot of energy. That dude's just I love it.
Whatever happened to, it's sad to say, but I'm gonna have to say their names because obviously otherwise nobody will know. But what happened to Move Soon?
What about him? There's actually I just was talking with Alex the other day. Actually did a podcast together.
Okay, yeah, no, I had a podcast with him eventually. Well, I had a podcast a very long time ago with him,
No, I
but
think they've so obviously they do a little bit of the mailer piece and things like that. But I thought was really interesting is I don't know if they found the secret sauce for the renter data, right? So you got all the home listing data and things like that, but he's got access to the rental data, which is huge. A lot of things that we were doing back in the day of, if I moved Dwight into an apartment complex, I'd always say, hey, year lease? Sure, yeah, it's a year lease. Okay. So I'd flag it on our calendar for 9 or 10 months to follow up with Dwight to see is Dwight actually staying in that apartment for another year or is he moving to another apartment, which is pretty common in our area. So it's a way for me to generate another quick lead. But now obviously with softwares out there, you can basically set automations to contact and do this prior to. Um, so you don't have to, set in your Google Calendar to make a phone call. It'll automatically reach out to Dwight and say, "Hey, Dwight, we moved you 9 months ago. Just checking to see if you're staying in your apartment or are you heading to another apartment complex or a home." Because
yeah,
most people aren't staying in apartments for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years like they used to. It's a year here, a year there. Um, but yeah, they got some rental data, which is pretty interesting.
yeah, and I think that's why Tim Callahan strategy for what is it called? Moversville won't go down for a very, very long time because of everything that he's got going on with the email campaigns and stuff like that. And I always go back to it that was a really, really great marketing source for me when I was in the business.
Yep,
To have re-engagement campaigns, sending customers emails before they even book their service to if they didn't book their service. And it was phenomenal, how automated it was. Oh, 365-day re-engagement. Hey, we know it's been a year. Ready to move again? And kind of just letting your brand be out there. And that was just phenomenal.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, actually, Tim's a great guy over there. We partner with him and we're in his monthly newsletters and all that stuff. No, I love what he's doing over there. I think he's leveraging Mailchimp, right, or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
hmm
Okay,
And MailChimp has just been that GOAT for years.
the goat.
But so we got Maddie Mailers, who's actually here, And he says, what's one trend you think is going to go bye-bye in 2025?
A trend that's gonna go bye-bye.
That is a good question. He put us on a spot right there.
Yeah, no, this is not big thing. Matty Mallers with the stumping question. A trend that's gonna go bye-bye. I think a lot of trends that I feel like are gonna kind of kick up and pick up, but what's gonna go away? Damn, that's a good question.
Hmm.
We'll kick it off with you, Dwight. What's
I'm sitting here thinking too. Ah, man. I don't know. I feel like lead providers aren't going anywhere, but they are getting super expensive.
Yeah, I don't think.
Um,
I mean, that's a good. I mean, that's a good one there because aren't they? They're changing the way leads are being distributed
yeah, I
at this
think it's
point, right? So it's they're going to get more expensive. They're not going to be able to get shipped around to what have you. Man,
see, see, Maddie,
I
what you
never paid
did?
for leads, so to me it was never to me paying for leads was always bye bye. Like we never messed with that. So,
Hmm,
um, I can't. It'd be wrong for me to say, hey, that's going to go away just because it's something we never dabbled in. Um,
hmm.
Man, that's a
I think so. I've been seeing a lot about, and this is on a smaller level, but I've been seeing a lot about like the business cards. Obviously I know in my generation, similarly your generation, I feel like we want to keep the paper business cards, but I feel like, with the dot cards and stuff
yeah. I
just
was just looking
becoming
at
more,
Dot yesterday, actually.
and I don't know if I'm going to migrate in that direction, but I feel like it's a easier way to systematize things. It's cost efficient, you know.
I've got a card that just has a QR code, and when you basically scan the QR code, it pulls up all my socials, all my info. But then again, what I do like at conferences and stuff, I just tap people's phones and it's bloop, ships over the contact. So
We ain't doing that. I know when you tap Apple to Apple, it be trying to steal people data sometimes.
now I still have I always keep business cards in my pocket just because you do come across some guys like you got a business card and you're like, oh, but I try to use the techie side of things working for a software company, but I always got a handful of business cards in the old pocket. But man, Matty Mallers with the stumper here. I'm like,
Yeah, no, that was a really great question. Yeah,
and there's a
now
lot
you
of
got
things that I have a personal opinion on. I would never say it on here of what I think is going to go away and not be that big of a piece. But
freedom of speech. Go, go, go.
no, 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 not. I can't, man. I got the uniform on, right? So I can't,
Ah,
you know,
very true, very true.
man, why this should not, I shouldn't be stumped on this question. Like I feel like this should be something that should be rattled off rather quickly.
But so have you met the guy who created, again, I guess it's called the Moving CRM?
No.
See, so I was thinking about that earlier when you said the sub shop. And I'm thinking about how much SEO that could attract to you. And likelihood people will be typing in, oh, what's a good moving CRM, which is a key word, probably for this CRM that's out, that's called the moving CRM. And I guess they've been out for a very, very, very long time where, they got a lot in their CRM, but they're from what I've heard that, it's not as updated from a look standpoint.
Is this the one out of Maryland?
I don't know where they're from, truthfully. I
As
met
you
him.
ask Matty Mallers, if I don't know if he's still listening, what's his prediction here? I mean, I can piggyback off that, but this is like driving me insane right now.
Yeah, Matt. What is your
Put him
prediction
on the
on?
spot or send him a link and get him on here. I know he's a couple hours behind, but he's up and out.
So yeah, let us know what you believe is your trend for the industry, so we can share with the world. Let them know. And welcome everybody else who just joined. So yeah, we got to figure out what the trend is for 2025, where the
The
moving
trend that's
industry is
going
going.
away, like a non-trendy piece.
So I don't know how everybody else's busy season took off last season. I didn't hear too bad. I know like in 2023, people were just like, I'm not having the season I'm having. Last year, it wasn't like I was seeing people like, oh, we in the money, but I ain't see them as like we struggling either. So I guess
Peak season for successful companies will go away.
Mm.
Think about that.
Tell me more,
These
Ryan.
peaks and valleys for the companies that are going to survive and thrive, and not just in 2025, but I feel like going forward, the ones that can take peak from being a trend and basically have a consistent peak throughout the entire year. So getting rid of, oh, it's peak and non-peak, getting rid of that language because why can't it be peak season throughout the entire year? I mean, if Walmart was only busy during Christmas time, do you think Walmart would have thousands of locations? No, they would not.
Hmm.
They probably shut their doors.
And I believe Black Friday has changed
You
worldwide
can't say
because
that anymore.
well, I can't.
I don't know. I thought I was told you can't say that too.
So, when you that, you can say whatever you would like. Uh but nevertheless, Green Friday, if they want to call it that, um starts on Thursday at 8 p.m. So with that being said, it's like it's not even Friday anymore. So I feel like people trying to get ahead of it, people stumbling over each other going forward. That's out the door, especially with online shopping nowadays. And people can get the same deals if they just do
I
online
remember
shopping.
as a kid standing in line at a store at 5 a.m. with my mother, trying to get my brother. Like, remember that Elmo doll that was like all these things back in the day where if you weren't like the first 50 in the store, you didn't get it. So people were camping out and all like, no, that's done and gone. You'll never see me. I hardly walk into a retail store to buy Christmas presents in today's world. Just because A,
Mm,
they don't have the size, and B, they don't have the selection. It stinks, but you know,
yeah, it ain't the same no more as you get older. But so Matt actually said one of the trends that's going to probably look to change is the race to the bottom on pricing, which is completely outside the box, but I like it, Matt. 'Cause yeah, I guess. You can't, well,
you can race to the bottom, but you're going to be racing yourself right out of business, I feel like.
yeah.
Right? But
So
again,
that is a tough one, but I feel like people are always, I guess you said on pricing that's $100 or so like that. So I get that if you look at it from that perspective, because if you're still charging $100 for a move, what are you doing?
we didn't get out of bed for in non-peak, well, back to the non-peak and peak, non-peak season, like 1,200 bucks a truck a day. We wouldn't even entertain something less than that at all.
So when I was offering cleaning services, we offered like 2 hours, two cleaners. We bring all the supplies. It was probably like $124. And then people started getting very, oh well, we love your service. We want to have repeat business, but can we get a discount because we're getting repeat business? And at first we had a discount. We were like, oh, we'll charge you like $106, $110 for, repeat customers just to build that flow of customers. And eventually it just started getting out of hand where it's just like, we don't have enough resources to be allocating to cleaning $100 versus sacrificing an $800, $900 move.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? It's to that point where why are we racing to the bottom? Why are we waking up for pennies? You know, it, so eventually it was just like, you know what? Either we're not going to offer any discounts on the cleaning services. We're just going to, we really want to offer that as a complimentary for your move. So we could do move in cleans, move out cleans, and just multiply that customer, which everybody should be doing anyways, because if you just have a one-off customer, you're already behind the ball. If you don't have storage, get storage. If you don't have a warehouse, use self-storage. There's ways to make sure that you can make the money. You just got to understand your pricing and understand and be able to sell value.
Yeah. Man, another trend that will go away is movers not knowing their numbers. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more of that financial eagerness to learn more about financials is what I've been seeing over the past couple months. People being a little bit more inquisitive, truly trying to learn where they're at and what they're doing, also planning. Gone are the days of just planning for peak season, right? Maybe we got to plan for the other quarters as well. But
This is a
another
low,
great,
yeah, this is a low barrier to entry industry. And if you do it right, obviously it's expensive. If you do it just to get into the industry, it's going to be, very cheap and people don't know their numbers. And when I talk to some moving owners, whether they're newer to the industry or they're existing, and I kind of read the room. I kind of feel their energy. I'm like, do this guy really knows his numbers? And do I really want to go down this rabbit hole and talking to him about his numbers? Because he doesn't seem he knows his number. He seems he knows the business. Oh, I've been around for this amount of years. I have this amount of jobs, blah, blah, blah. But we've been profitable. And it's like, are you really? Let's deep dive into that. But then you don't want to call them out on their shit. So you're just like, you know what? Okay. Okay.
Wish you luck. Wish you luck.
If you've been around and it's been working, I won't say anything. But I definitely want to get out to a lot more of these business facilities, the ones that actually has a location. Because you see so many, like when I was in Albany area, I used to Google moving companies. And I say, let me stop at their facility because I want to, like you said, how you stopped at, you might have stopped at Subway or you might have stopped at one of these other shops to kind of get their culture and vibe. I kind of wanted to do that as well because I'm like, maybe I'm not running it right. Let me stop at their facility. Let me see what they're up about. But a lot of moving companies don't even have locations. They have like they're working out of their houses.
Yeah, there's a cool thing that our company used to do. So we had obviously a lot of friends in the New York market, right? So not in the immediate competing market, couple hours to the east, couple hours to the west, couple hours up north. And every quarter, we basically get together and they would go to, say, Dwight's moving company, spend the day, tour the facility, sit down in the office, review numbers, talk about types of things, and truly say, hey, we're going to go to Dwight's and we're going to learn from Dwight and we're going to see if we can potentially help Dwight. And next quarter, guess what? They're going over to Ryan's moving and storage to tour my facilities, walk through the office staff. And they did this and they still continue to do this today. And it's helped all four companies absolutely flourish, which
I
is
feel like having a great friendship like that because that's what it's called. It's called a friendship.
100%. No, those
Um,
guys are really tight. And, I'm blessed to see them at all these New York events. It's super cool.
yeah,
Super cool to see.
because
They all work together, but no, yes. Do they compete in some aspects? 100%. And obviously, they're not working on pricing together and all that fun stuff, but just operationally piece. How do we make sure that we're sound? How do we make sure that you know your stuff? Because we all want, there's enough pie to go around, right? So none
so
of these guys are trying to sideswipe other people or steal their business or what have you. And it's just fun to see these guys all operate.
so I know we have to say they're not working on pricing, but in reality, come on. When you talk numbers, yeah, it's inevitable that you're not gonna mention
Well,
pricing.
you can see everybody's prices too in the New York State site, right? You can see what people are charging per box, what they're charging per hour. You can see their full tariff. So, I mean, much you
Yeah,
can
so
say
if you
not
wanted that
discussing price,
information,
like
you
it's
can definitely
there.
get it.
Yeah, but I tell you, I mean, I still challenge people to do this all the time. Call moving companies in your area. I just did this the other day because I'm doing a sales audit with a particular customer, and they challenged me to call their particular company because they were really, really good. At least they thought. I called their organization and I give them a C, right? Give them a C plus, maybe. I would say of how they handled the phone call, how engaging they were, how comfortable they made me feel, what have you. And then I just started calling the moving companies that are across the street from them. And some were worse and some were way, way, way better to the point where the ones that were better had the higher rates and they didn't push price right away. They pushed the service, they pushed the quality of what they do. They asked the right questions to the point where I'm like, wow, I felt really, really bad calling these guys because they spent a lot of time with me on the phone trying to figure out everything about my particular move. And I'm like, damn. Where others that I call in the area were like, oh, we got a 4 hour minimum, $269 for three people in the truck. Here's your
It's
price.
the it's the power of delegation in that case, in my opinion. Having a person that actually oversee your salespeople, having a person that actually oversee your operations people, I feel like that's when things are going to get done properly. So we used to have like a authority takeover, not authority takeover script, sorry. We used to have like a something to audit our sales calls. So we would go through like maybe like 10 to 20 questions. We would listen to random calls. We'll say, hey, did the person introduce themselves? Did they address the person's needs? Did they upsell any items? Did they grab their phone number? Did they grab their email? Very simple stuff that phone etiquette should have. But are they doing this? And then having that meeting with the sales team once a week where you're like, well, hey, look at now, you don't do it with the whole group, but you do it with them and maybe the sales manager, and you're like, hey, so we went over your calls, we went over three random calls. We out of 100%, you got about 70%. You did really well in these areas, but here's where we feel you could do better. And you have to word it that way. Don't go after them and say, here's where you messed up, but here's where you can do better. Because, at the end of the day, you always want a positive, give them that positive reinforcement that, hey, I'm doing something well. And then you hit them with, oh, you don't, and don't use the word, hey, this is where you bad. Use, here's where you can get better at.
I mean, you're
And
plugging the sales co-pilot right now for me. I'm not even have to say anything, but that's exactly what it does. Exactly what it does. So instead of you having to go through 20, 30, 40 phone calls and go through your list, this does it in real time. So you just click on reports and you can see where Dwight's lacking or where he's slacking, right? Same thing. You can see where Ryan's excelling or where Ryan needs to put in some work because Ryan continues to not ask the customer's email or phone number. Ryan continues to not ask about packing or storage or any upsells. It's all clear, about as clear as it gets. So you've always got somebody grading your calls at any time. So at the end of the week, you run your report. You can say, oh, Dwight, guess what? You crushed it 92% of the time. Great job. That's probably why your closing ratio was 45% this week. Ryan, you only hit 60% of the mark on your calls. You left 40% of those questions on the table, which are critical, hence why you're closing at 22% this past week. So
hey,
I
then
love I
be
love you.
sensitive there.
What's that?
Be sensitive there. You just hurt my feelings if I was Ryan.
Well, hey, I'll talk about me, so I can say it about me, right? 22% is terrible. Absolutely terrible. But
Yeah.
you know what? If you're not doing the right thing, you're not handling each customer a particular way, that's what's going to happen.
You remember we in a sensitive society nowadays. You might end up having
That's why I
somebody.
always talk about myself when it comes to things not going well. So I put you at 45%, Dwight. You saw that. I'm 22.
So, and that's again some things you got to worry about, especially with your movers too. Don't even though you're doing it with your sales team, don't do away with not going out there doing field surveys with your movers. And we were big on that as well. Once a year, we would go out like prior to the like around probably around the summer quarter 2 we would do this because quarter 3 we're kind of like in the mix of the summer. We're not trying to do nothing like that. But quarter 2 we go out to a job site. We'll have a field survey. And at this point, we could probably do all three people if it's 2 or 3 people on a job. And we kind of just stand back. We introduce ourselves to the customer so the customer kind of know that we're there. Some of the stuff we can get from the car. So like if we're like parked away from the house and we can just like look out the window and assess them or some weirdo stuff, we'll do that. See, how they're carrying stuff to the truck, if they're stopping outside and they're slacking or whatever the case is. Do they have their uniform on? Like, because some guys used to want to take their shirt off because maybe it was too hot. You know, uh, did they set up the residence protection from outside? Is there any door jam protectors or covers on the door? Whatever the case is, just to get you an overview, because basically once you step on the premises, everything changes. They know that you're there. So now you go in the house, you walk around the house, you introduce yourself to the customer, just like, hey, we're just doing a brief survey, making sure that our guys are giving you top-notch service. And in most cases, they was like, oh, okay, oh, that's awesome. And they'll leave you be. And then you go, you watch the loader who's loading up the truck or unloading, depending on what side of the job they're on, and you see if stuff was wrapped in the truck. You see if how they're carrying stuff, how they're communicating on the job. Are they loud? Are they, cursing? Are they whatever? And you're just assessing all of this stuff. And then basically you bring it back to your office and tally everything up and you bring them each in individually. You have a meeting. Hey, this is what I found that you did very well on the job. I'm very impressed that you did this, right? And then here's where I feel like you can be a little better, and you kind of like let them know, and they're like, they'll let you know their story. Oh, well, because I was in this situation, I wasn't able to do that, but I get your point, or whatever the case is. It's like, yeah, it's just my observation, so definitely we're gonna look to improve on this. We'll monitor this very closely, and then maybe at the end of the year when we did rate like merit increases, we would look at that and say, well, hey, has he improved in that one specific area or a few areas? And now we're going to, hey, whether we're going to pay them a little bit more.
Yeah. No, QC checks were critical. We did them all the time. And we didn't just do them during peak, we did them in non-peak as well. Because I found a lot of times when our guys were slacking, it was during the non-peak season when they weren't as seasoned as doing as many jobs as they were. But I always look for I always look for the little things. It was never that, our guys padded everything, we packed things correctly, we loaded correctly. But I always went after the little things. And that was, when you drop down the walkboards on that concrete driveway, do we have an old dirty pad that's underneath the bottom of that walkboard so we're not scratching the concrete? Like those are the little things that I kind of went after, which might seem a little crazy, but you got them customers. I scratch my concrete driveway. Well,
Mhm.
what's that going to cost you, right? So, do we have the right protection? Where is the home care kit in the house? Where is the customer? Where's our crew? Am I finding cigarette butts in the driveway, or am I finding them on the other side of the truck, which I shouldn't be finding them either? So, we had a little form that we went out and again, we didn't hit every job, but we hit quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me, to be honest with you people, and y'all could probably tell me if hey, none of us is perfect. So I feel like the challenge for me is like when I first started, I didn't have any mover experience. I learned it as I went, whatever the case is. But it was one of those things where I didn't learn it from the standpoint of, oh, make sure you have residence protection. I learned it from, oh, well, make sure you know how to load up a truck, make sure you know how to, do your thing. So kind of like starting to get into that residence protection stuff where it's like, oh, make sure you have like 8,000 floor runners in a house. Make sure you have, multiple door jamb protectors and covers and banner protection and little rug protection so that you don't get, their white rugs dirty, whatever the case is. I feel like that a lot of that came from just etiquette. Just, hey guys, you see they got white rugs. We need to make sure we have some booties or something. You
I still
know.
never understood the white rugs. I came in so many of them. I'm like, who puts bright white carpet down? And they have a dog. I'm like, how is this carpet so clean? I never
Mhm.
understood that.
So yeah, so it was one of those things where even to the final day, I felt like we had it, we had all of that stuff, but there was just no way that we had like 20 and like 10 rows of row rug runners and 8,000 door protectors. It just didn't make sense and it wasn't cost efficient because it was bad enough the guys were losing simple stuff like toolboxes and those rug runners aren't cheap, especially
No,
those
it's
nice
always
rubber
so we had the
ones.
home care kits and then we had lockers. So each driver had their own tool kit. And it is basically so when they come in to work, they put their little coat in, they grab their drill kit, their tool kit, whatever you want to call it, then they take it out on the job. At the end of the day, you just look at it and say, okay, we're missing boom, boom, boom. All right, where's Tom's? Where's Dwight's? Where's Ryan's? That's how, because we were missing toolboxes all the time, being left on the job sites. We put basically as responsibility of the driver at that point. Like, you're going to need these tools. Because how many times your crews go out to a job and they don't have any tools?
Mhm.
And it's never when they're 5 minutes around the corner. It's always when they're an hour away at a location. They've got beds to take apart. They've got sofas. They've got tables. And you're like, I got to run a toolbox out. But
Oh yeah, that most annoying thing, especially when the screwdriver always went missing. They got a whole toolbox, bits and everything, but no screwdriver. And it's like, oh, we need a screwdriver, boss. And you're just like, how far are you? You're in Clifton Park? Jesus.
we had like almost like C bins, I would say, like wooden C bins that we also had all our equipment inside strapped to the side of the truck. Now, do you lose a little bit of space in that truck for that? Sure, but we also knew what our average move size was, and we oftentimes didn't have more than that. So that little C bin, sort of say, that had all the equipment, the rug runners, the straps, the bands, everything was right inside, equipped on every single truck.
I was always
So,
worried about those C-bins because of space.
yep.
Sometimes we barely have space to put the dollies in at the end, and you're just like, a
I know, right?
C-bin?
And you're leaving the whole C bin behind the customer's garage. Like, great, 2 hours away. How are we going to pick that up?
Mm-hmm. Especially on those long distance jobs. So it's like you almost have to factor that cubic feet in, and you can't really stack on top of it because that's not stay safe. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
just
that's
like,
why we put eyes on everything. Like, we had it dialed in, so it was either 90% virtual, but we looked at everything. It could have been a 200-pound consumable shipment, or a 20,000. It didn't matter what it was. One bedroom efficiency apartment or a five-bedroom home. We looked at everything. We wanted to make
yes,
sure we set our team up for success.
yeah. So don't go against the grain, guys. If all the numbers tell you from your cubic feet when you're cubing out the move that you need two trucks, but there's a potential you can get it done with one truck. You know, err on the precautionary side. Bring that second truck. Worst case scenario, you don't pack the first truck to the brim. You pack it, maybe 80%, and then basically pack the other truck with the 20%, etc. It's better to be on the safe side because one, again, if you pack the truck 100% and you're tight to the ceiling, to the wall, to the floor, whatever the case is, obviously you better be to the floor because unless you're floating. Um, you, you know, just make sure you if you are going to have two trucks that you don't need to pack that tight. Obviously it's only going to cause damages anyways if you're packing that humanly tight. So, just be air on the precautionary side. Make sure you guys are using tears, which not a lot of people use nowadays with as it's a lot of these crazy trucks you see on local moves. Like, oh, we just did another movie. You look at it, you're like, that was you?
Toss that shit in the back. There it is.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So I think we are at the top of the hour, y'all. I hope y'all got a lot of gems out. I know we was kind of rambling, but you guys are doing your thing. It's not but so much we can give you to tell you to keep going. You've been doing it this long, and you ain't crying because we will be hearing about it. So just take this for a grain with a grain of salt and just keep incorporating your business. Incorporate AI if you feel like there's ways you can incorporate AI. Assess your sales team to make sure that they're doing what you need them to do and not just book jobs because we know that's the job. But we need to know that they're doing stuff consistently on the back end, introducing their name. Are they asking for the contact information? Are they asking for the source that the customer found you at? Those are just the basic stuff that a lot of people aren't doing. I work as a manager, and I ain't gonna say where, but I work as a manager. So, at a place, and they anytime my people answer the phone, I want to make sure that they're saying their name. And that's the first thing I look out for. I could be doing 8,000 things. I'm like, did they say a name? Did they say a name? And that's important because it builds that rapport. It builds that, oh, well, hey, I spoke to somebody on the phone. Well, then they didn't make a big enough impact for you to remember their name. So it's just little things like that that'll take your business to the next level. It'll bring back repeat business because I've
Don't be
had
transactional. I
yep,
hate transactional pieces.
I had sales reps that the customer would be like, "Oh, can I speak to this person because this person, I worked with and they were really great last time." That's that feel you want.
Yep. That's an A
But
team right there.
so all right, so we are at the top of the hour. Ryan, did you want to leave them with anything? Soup move doing anything new that we need to know about?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that. I can't say not this one. Give me a couple more weeks and maybe we can take a little deep dive in some of the cool things we're doing behind the scenes here, but can't let it out at the moment. But maybe next Thursday.
Okay,
Actually, I'll be
yeah.
out of town next Thursday, but I'm gonna be 3 hours behind.
Ah, geez. Well, behind. Oh man, that's
6
too
a.m.
early.
That's
We,
6 a.m.
we need you 3 hours ahead.
I know, so I'm not late, right?
Man,
We'll
did
see
you
what we
ever
do
go to
about next
Cali?
Thursday.
Did you
What's
ever get to
that?
Cali?
That's where I'm headed to. Yeah, going out to LA for a quick event out there.
Yeah, how's that
On
going out
Wednesday,
there
and I
with
think come back
everything?
Friday. So,
How's that going out there with everything going on?
well, where we're at, everything is so the Palisades is about like 40 minutes, 45 minutes away. So the area that we're going in, thank goodness, has been unaffected by everything that I would say unaffected completely, but it's not burning around where we're at. It's 40, 45 minutes on the outskirts, sort of say. So the event is still on. Yeah, so just super pumped to meet some more California movers and have a nice dinner and some drinks and just make some new friends.
Yeah, my thoughts and since I'm not a religious person, I don't want to say the P word, but my thoughts go out to those people that's over there, and I hope that you guys are staying safe. Um, you know, yeah, because I know that they still got that the burning fires over there.
It's just crazy, man. If you think of how big the fire is, like there was a little map. I don't want to go on too long, but there was a map that basically overlaid like the size of the fire according to a couple different states, and it was like I couldn't imagine basically like half of New York State being on fire right now. Like that'd be insane,
And
right? But
New York State on the map looks small, so just imagine the margins.
yeah,
Uh, but all right, y'all. So we'll see y'all next Thursday. Keep crushing it and take care. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel too.
it is.